Monday morning, new laptop, fresh badge, calendar already packed. You walk into your first week thinking the first 90 days are a runway, a protected zone, a time to learn the systems, meet the team, ask questions, make a few mistakes, and gradually become productive. That is the story most companies sell. It sounds reasonable. It sounds humane. It sounds like the organization is investing in your success. But in a lot of workplaces, that is not what the first 90 days are. Because while you think you are being onboarded, the company is often doing something else. It is measuring how expensive you might become, how difficult you might be to manage, how quickly you can be shaped, how much uncertainty you create, and whether your name will eventually become a problem inside the system. Before you have built real influence, before you understand the politics, before you know who actually has power, people are already forming conclusions that can follow you for years. And the most dangerous part is how polite it all looks. The meetings are friendly, the check-ins sound supportive. The manager says things like, no pressure, just focus on learning. But the signal is already moving. The narrative is already forming. And by the time most employees realize they were being judged, the first version of their reputation is already locked in. If you want to stop getting blindsided by workplace systems nobody explains, subscribe. Most people believe the first 90 days are about fit in the human sense. Can this person settle in? Can they learn? Can they adjust? Can the company help them succeed? That is the public version. The real version is more structural. And the first 90 days are often a low-cost evaluation window where the organization tries to answer a different set of questions. Not, how do we set this person up to thrive? But, what kind of management burden will this person become? Not, what are they capable of long-term, but what signal are they sending right now? Not, are they talented, but are they safe? That sounds harsh until you look at how companies are actually built. A new hire enters an organization as an unresolved risk. Salary has been approved, headcount has been consumed, expectations have been sold upward, and someone internally is now attached to whether this hire works out. The manager who pushed to hire you wants to avoid looking careless. HR wants a clean process. Finance wants efficiency. Leadership wants fast output. Your team wants relief. Right? Everyone says they want you to succeed. But each part of the system wants something slightly different from your existence. That is where the trap begins. What most people never see is that the first 90 days are not just about performance. They are about signal management. How quickly do you respond? How polished do you sound in meetings? Do you need repeated clarification? Do you escalate too early? Do you challenge existing processes too soon? Are you independent enough to reduce managerial load, but not independent enough to look politically dangerous? Do people describe you as sharp, easy, reliable, or confusing, intense, defensive, needy? Those words matter more than new hires realize, because organizations do not run purely on documented metrics. They run on fast internal summaries, tiny reputation shortcuts, informal descriptions that travel faster than evidence. Smart but rough around the edges. Seems capable, but still not getting it. Good attitude. Needs hand-holding. Strong technically, maybe not strategic. These phrases sound small. They are not small. They become the frame through which your future actions are interpreted. And the first 90 days are when those labels form fastest, because nobody knows enough about you yet to resist them. From the outside, onboarding looks like support. Structurally, it is often filtration. The company is watching how much value it can extract relative to the amount of calibration you require. That is why new hires are often told conflicting things. Take initiative, but do not overstep. Ask questions, but not too many. Be visible, but not loud. Learn the culture, but deliver immediately. Move fast, but do not make mistakes. Those are not accidental contradictions. They reveal the true nature of the window. The system wants proof without friction. It wants output without noise. It wants adaptability without disruption. It wants confidence that feels useful, not confidence that introduces uncertainty. And this is why so many strong employees stumble early. Not because they are weak, because they interpret the first 90 days literally. They think honesty. They think will be read as effort. They think asking for clarity will be read as diligence. They think good work will eventually correct early misreadings. It does. Often it does not. Because there is a second layer to this that makes the trap harder to see. The first 90 days do not just measure you. They teach the company how to treat you. If you consistently absorb vague instructions and still deliver, the system learns you can operate under ambiguity without requiring better management. If you take on extra work without rescoping expectations, the system learns your capacity is expandable at no additional cost. If you solve silent messes without documenting them, the system learns to benefit from your competence without needing to formally recognize it. If you stay agreeable while your role keeps stretching, the system learns exactly how much boundary pressure you will tolerate. That is the real trap. The first 90 days are not only an evaluation period, they are a conditioning period. The company discovers your elasticity before you have enough internal leverage to resist what that elasticity will cost you. What he didn't know was that every fast turnaround became a new baseline. What she didn't know was that every late-night rescue made the manager trust her availability more than her judgment. What most people never realize is that early accommodation becomes future expectation. And once that expectation hardens, it is very difficult to renegotiate. Not because the company is evil in some dramatic sense, but because organizations stabilize around whatever keeps them operational. If you helped stabilize chaos in your first 90 days, the system will quietly preserve that arrangement. Then come the invisible consequences. The first is perception lock. You may improve, evolve, and understand the business far better 6 months later, but the organization may still relate to the version of you it formed in week 3. Now, as the early summary becomes sticky. And once that summary is socially distributed, every action gets filtered through it. The second is hidden labor extraction. New hires often overperform to prove value. They volunteer, stay late, clean up communication gaps, absorb broken processes, and cover for unclear leadership. But because all of this happens before they have negotiating power, it gets normalized instead of rewarded. The system was never designed to automatically pay for every sacrifice it can quietly absorb. The third is career positioning. The first 90 days often determine whether you are seen as strategic, operational, promotable, manageable, or expendable. Not permanently, but enough to shape who gets trusted with visible work, who gets invited into real conversations, and who gets left in execution-only territory. A lot of people think their career stalled because they were not talented enough. In reality, they were often trapped inside an early interpretation that was never properly corrected. And then there is the cruelest part. By the time a new hire senses something is wrong, they usually personalize it. They think, maybe I need to work harder. Maybe I need to be more patient. Maybe I need to prove myself one more time. But the real problem is that they are reacting like this is a merit puzzle, when it is often a systems puzzle. They are trying to solve with effort what was structured through perception, incentives, and unmanaged signal. This is the reframe most employees need. The issue is not just whether you are competent, it is whether your competence is being translated into the right organizational signal, because companies do not simply reward effort. They reward legibility. They reward predictability. They reward people whose value can be understood in a way that lowers political and managerial friction. That sounds unfair because it is not a moral system. It is an operating system. And once you see that, the first 90 days stop looking like a grace period. They look like a silent negotiation. A negotiation over your future workload, a negotiation over how much ambiguity you will absorb, a negotiation over whether your name will trigger confidence or concern in rooms you are not in, a negotiation over whether the organization sees you as someone to invest in or someone to use. That is why the first 90 days matter so much more than most people are told. Not because every company is plotting against you, but because every system tries to reduce uncertainty fast. And when you are the new variable, the system starts simplifying you immediately. So the real danger is not that the company is evaluating you. The real danger is that you think you are only being welcomed. Because in corporate life, the first story told about you is often the one you spend the next year trying to escape. And the decision was usually made long before you realized you were being judged.